In an earlier chapter and video, we looked at character formatting, which is formatting that you can apply to a single character or a word or a sentence or the entire document. Character formatting includes bold, italics, and underline, and basically addresses this group here. What I now want to look at is paragraph formatting, which on the Home tab is this paragraph group here. Now this sort of formatting applies itself to an entire paragraph, not a simple word. So in some cases you don't need to select the paragraph because it's going to do it to the entire paragraph anyway. For example, if I click on Decorating in 3 Stages and I decide that I want to right align that title, then I would simply go for this button here, which is Align Right, or return it to the left, or put it in the center. So there's 3 types of alignment we could apply to this title, and I'm going to center it. As far as shortcut keys go, Control L is left, Control R, as it mentions here, is right, and Control E is center. The reason Control E is center is that Control C went to copy, so Microsoft took the second letter in the word center and made Control E center. So if I didn't want to use the buttons, I could press Control L for left, R for right, and Control E for center. If I then want to select some paragraphs besides the title, I'll click on this paragraph here. I might decide that this paragraph I'd like to align to the right, to the left, to the center, and the 4th option here is Justify. Justify applies nice straight edges to both the left and the right edge of a paragraph, whereas left gives you a raggedy right edge. So Justified is much like a newspaper where you've got nice straight edges left and right. In fact, what I might like to do is press Control A, and in all of the text I could send it to the left, to the center, to the right, or I might justify, Control J, the entire document. So those are the sorts of alignment options that you have. Now also there's the indenting options. For this I'm going to click in this paragraph and I'm going to look at these 2 buttons here, Increase Indent and Decrease Indent. When I click the Increase Indent, what you'll notice that this paragraph here will be indented 1.27 centimeters, which is ½ an inch. You'll also notice that this egg timer or indent marker will in fact move to the right. So I'll click this button here, which is Increase Indent, and you'll see it there. It's moved to the right and this paragraph is now indented. I can actually click it again and again and again and continue to indent it. If I want to decrease the indent, and that is move it back to the left, I will simply click this button, and I may have to hit it several times to get it to go back to the left margin. So that's what those 2 buttons do. They increase indent and decrease indent. Now what Microsoft failed to say here when you rest on these buttons is there are actually shortcut keys for increase indent, and there's a shortcut key for decrease indent, and I use those shortcut keys a lot. Control M is increase indent, and I remember it as move. Control M is move. Control Shift M is move back. So Control M is move or increase indent, and Control Shift M is move back or decrease indent. Now, the indent marker that was moving across the ruler actually tells us a lot about what sort of indenting is going on with the paragraph, and also it can be dragged. It has 3 portions. This you would drag if you wanted to indent the first line only, maybe 2 centimeters, and drag it back. This you would drag if you want to indent everything but the first line, maybe 2 centimeters, and drag it back. And this 3rd bottom portion you would drag if you wanted to indent from the left, maybe 2 centimeters. And this indent marker over here is to indent from the right, maybe 2 centimeters. And it's hard to be accurate when you're dragging, but it's approximately that. Now when I'm sitting on this paragraph, I can see the indenting applied, and when I click on this paragraph, I can see that the indenting is hard against the left and right margins. So as you click on a paragraph, it pays to look up in the ruler, because the ruler is telling you if there's any indenting applied to a paragraph and what type of indenting it is. If I wish to put the indenting back, I can drag it back, but sometimes dragging like this is very tricky. So what I prefer to do is I prefer to double click the indent marker, and that brings up this window, and then I can be more precise. As you can see here, I didn't quite get the right indent back to 0, and that's because it just wouldn't drag. So I can put the indent for the right back to 0 and OK. So my indenting is exactly 0 and 0 to the right. If I double click the indent marker, I could indent, say, the left, from the left, say 4 centimeters, from the right, say 4 centimeters. And I just use the tab key to move down. Centimeters are presumed, so you don't need to type centimeters. And this will indent from the left 4 centimeters and from the right 4 centimeters. And that's great because it's very hard to count backwards when you want to drag using the dragging method. This is very precise. If I click on this paragraph and then double click the indent marker, this paragraph I might want to do a special indent. I don't want to indent from the left or the right. I want to indent just the first line by 2 centimeters. And OK. And that's what that one's done, and it shows there. If I click on this paragraph, I might double click the indent marker, and this one I want to do another special indent, which is a hanging indent by 2 centimeters, and OK. And that's a hanging indent, and there it shows there. This is a first line indent, and it shows there. And this is indented from the left and the right 4 centimeters, and this is not indented at all. So indenting is controlled and shown using the indent marker. If I want to get rid of the indenting, I'll highlight this entire area here. I'll double click the indent marker, and I'll set the left to 0, the right to 0, and special to none. Left 0, right 0, and no special indenting, and that will put it back to normal. And so indenting is really important. It'll become particularly important when we get into bullets and numbering.